In this video I'm going to explain the difference between certain ghillie suit making materials, namely burlap and jute. So what's the difference between burlap and jute? Well, nothing, they're the same thing. Burlap consists of woven jute. So then what is jute? Well, jute is a coarse material that is made from a certain type of plant, and in my opinion is one of the best materials for making ghillie suits. So how do I get jute, you may be wondering? Well, in my opinion there's three main ways. The first way is to Google ghillie suit and go to one of the hundreds of different ghillie suit making places that sells actual thread or materials. The second way is to get a bunch of old burlap sacks, find a fabric colored dye the fabric, and then cut them into strips. The third way, and my favorite way, is to go to your local fabric store and buy some burlap. You can buy it by the yard, and it's usually available in several different colors. Having to buy fabric dye and dyeing it yourself, which can be a time-consuming, tedious project. Additionally, you can buy jute twine, but I don't usually like using this as a primary material for a ghillie suit. It makes a nice garnish to break up the texture, but in my opinion it doesn't make a good base material. Whether you dye some coffee sacks or buy it by the yard, you still have to de-thread it. This can take some time and be a little bit tedious, but in the end it's cheaper than buying it from a ghillie supply store. To strand your burlap, you're going to want to go ahead and start out by cutting out the seamed edge so that you have a rough edge all the way around the outside of perimeter of your material. I personally prefer to cut my burlap into 24-inch squares. That way both cross sections of the material are going to end up being 24 inches long. Leaves you plenty of room to tie the material and still have plenty overhanging on your suit. One method is to place your square of pre-cut material on the ground. Go ahead and hold the material down with both your feet and pull from the middle. Here I'm showing you a little bit closer up what pulling from the middle will look like. Another method would be to hold the material down with one hand and pull the strands from one side. This also works, but goes a little bit slower in my opinion. Once again, here's a closer shot of pulling the material from one side. While it's time consuming, you should be able to get between a half a pound and a full pound of material per hour, which equates to just around a yard every 2 hours of material. That's pretty much all there is to it. Have fun, because it's going to take some time.